Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my adventures going to Bohol in the Philippines, which has been one of my bucket list travel destinations. I did have a great time there, although the ending did not end very well, which I will share as this video goes along. So the first part of my trip to Bohol actually started from Manila going to the Bohol airport, and I flew with Cebu Pacific, which is not the most comfortable airline in the world. Upon arriving, there's only one way to get transportation to Tagbilaran City from the airport, and that's to take one of the shuttles from the airport, which costs about 1,000 pesos. The driver was actually shocked that I can speak Tagalog because he thought I was Korean, which is kind of funny because I actually kind of look Korean, especially at a time when my hair was longer. We ended up staying in an inn, and the driver tried to sell us his tour to look around in Bohol, but our hotel actually had a better price. So we ended up hiring a driver and a vehicle through our hotel instead, which cost about 4,500 pesos to go to the Manmade Forest, to see the Tarsiers, the famous chocolate hills, and a destination that most tourists don't see when they go to Bohol, which is the Binabaje Hills in Alicia. Our first stop in our tour of Bohol is the Man-Made Forest, which honestly is just a tourist trap, even though it's pretty. Next, we get to see this endangered species of an animal called Tarsier, which is endemic to Bohol, and it was really cool to see them. This one looks grumpy as hell. This one looks evil. Our next stop is the famous Chocolate Hills, which is really pretty, but at the same time, it was also quite frustrating being there because it was so overcrowded with tourists. And apparently April is the best time to go because you get to see the brown chocolate color of the hills. And the final part of our trip is a long drive to Alicia, which is roughly 4 hours from Tagbilaran City. And this is a big, difficult trek up Binabaje Hills. And it was brutal because it was raining really hard when we did it. And we got really wet. At the same time, though, the view at the top was amazing. It was spectacular. And it's probably the best thing I've ever seen while I was traveling in Bohol. The trek down wasn't as difficult, however, it was brutal because it was raining nonstop. I was soaked like crazy, and the 4-hour drive back to Tagbilaran City, we were all wet because we didn't have any change of clothes, and as a result, I actually got really sick. And as of making this video, which is like a month later after finishing this trip, I'm actually still recovering from having fever and cough. After the brutal 4.5-hour drive from Alicia to Tagbilaran City, I bought some Jollibee for me, Karen, and the driver before we said our goodbyes. Our last day in Tagbilaran City was just spent eating food and recovering from me being sick, as well as doing some laundry before the next day, which we would be heading to Cebu. The original plan was actually go to Oslob and Cebu to see the whale shark. However, I got really sick, so I didn't get a chance to do it when I arrived there. But we did take a ferry from Panglao, going all the way to that location, and the ferry ride was quite rough. I would personally not take this ferry again, knowing what I now know, but I think if you are an adventure traveler and you want a little bit of an adventure and convenience, this ferry is a good option for you. I decided to just rest in the hostel when we arrived in Oslob, and the hostel management was actually really nice and they are actually really caring. So I just spent the time there eating local food. The first restaurant I went to was absolutely awful. It was right beside the hostel. The second one was much better, but it was a 15-minute walk away, which is not good when you're sick. And the next day, on our way to Cebu City, we had breakfast at the terrible restaurant again, just to see if it's actually terrible, and it is terrible still. I'm glad we got a private ride to Cebu City because I was really sick and it would have been bad if we took public transportation. But Cebu City was actually very nice and I would go back there again. The last meal that we ate there is actually a Korean barbecue, which was so delicious, and it was this hidden gem place that we discovered from Google Maps. From there, we flew back to Manila with Cebu Pacific again, and I was quite impressed with the airport in Cebu City, and it is much nicer than the one in Manila. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.